I say, whoa, now, once again, it's your minds and them, the Toothless Wonder, reporting on the Bamboozled Again News Network, where we also must be mindful to not bamboozle ourselves in ways that seem right unto us. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll probably, as I normally do, I'm gonna get to jumping around on this joint like House of Pain. But I don't know, yo, like my heart is softening, yo. And it's cool. But like when I was in Baltimore or whatever, and my heart started changing in that season of life, you know what I'm saying? Because of, the terrain or the environment or whatever. Like me and brother get into it about nothing because, typically it's an antagonistic, urban setting, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, yo, I can't really afford to get into it. Not out of fear or anything like that. But then I'm like, yo, why this brother, I ain't did nothing. I'm like, why this brother coming at me like this? So that's why I started just be like, come here, cuz, and just open up on him. You know what I'm saying? Give me a hug, bro. And then that would actually make him backpedal, right? But then when I got by myself, I'm like, yo, am I getting soft or like, well, what if, here I go hypotheticalizing again, just made up a word. Like, yo, well, if they try me, they gonna think I'm soft or, you know what I'm saying? Or like when I first went to my wilderness season and the Most High kind of dealt with, turned the mirror around on me and then he started dealing with forgiveness. But I'm like, okay, I get it. But if I forgive him, then they might try to do it again and I'll, it ain't about nothing, yo. I was just thinking about like, I fought the good fight in respect to like, let's say like community work, activism, awareness, right? And seemingly, everybody know I'm telling the truth. And I don't care about personal attacks. I can deal with all that. I got thick skin, right? But then I'm like, yo, are my efforts in vain? You know what I'm saying? There's a verse at the end of the Serenity Prayer that people say at NA meetings. Um, Typically they don't say the second half, but one of the parts of the second half go, taking this world as it is, not as I would have it. So I'm so like almost in my own way hell bent on changing the world or, you know, my environment around me, and it's not working because it's not meant to work. You see what I'm saying? And then I'll start hypotheticalizing again, right? How about I just change? That's hard enough in and of itself. Technically, if you change yourself, you may not be able to change the world per se, but you do change the world because you change the way you view the world. You see what I'm saying? Or the lens that you're viewing it through. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of space I've been in like the last week. Like I got a main man partner who's in Baltimore and sits on the board of the rehab I went to, right? So by him being, the Negro who sits on the board next to Under Armour, Amazon, or like these movers and shakers of Baltimore City, John Hopkins and so on and so forth. Then in my mind, I'm like, okay, we got a main man homeboy from the set who sit on the board, who's in a power position. So being that he's in leadership, why are the Negroes underneath of them still shucking and jiving or whoop de whoop de whoop de whoop? You know what I'm saying? And I can go through my whole articulation about why I believe that is. And it's probably true. But it's a frivolous battle because it's not going to change because it's not meant to change. You know what I'm saying? Typically, Negroes don't get into any institution and change it from the inside. Typically, they ingratiate themselves, like even with the music industry. You know what I'm saying? And if you do try to change, next thing you got some scandal on you or whatever. It's a fruitless effort, yo. I'ma just, as they say in the recovery world, find your lane, stay in your lane. No, find your lane, get in your lane, stay in your lane, and just keep the focus on yourself. Cause I got not the stuff I can't handle, but I got a host of more uh, uh, pertinent things going on that deal with, directly with me and mine. That should be the focus of my attention. Now, in my mind, because I'm pretty good at multitasking now, another skill I've gained along the journey. I'm like, I can fight this over here, I can go fight this over here. You know what I'm saying? I can go tend to my child, you know what I mean? I can go read, I can listen to YouTube, I can make a few dollars, you know what I'm saying? Which is cool, and I know how to do it gracefully and not get burnt out. But again, as I do a spiritual internal audit, like all the stuff I'm fighting, it's gonna be what it is anyway. You see what I'm saying? This is all prophesied and designed to happen. So, like, let's say we make these articulations about, let's say Travis Hunter. You know what I'm saying? Now I'll bring awareness or whatever of what I think. But who am I about what the brother should do or from previous experience and so on and so forth. But nobody will change unless they want to change or want to see the reality of the situation. And that applied to me. I've been seeing the reality of my situation. I just didn't want to put in the work to change it. You see what I'm saying? So when I make these articulations about black people like being bamboozled, if you go through the scripture, typically that's a common trait of us in mass. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I can, do a video about, just to make awareness. But all that putting energy into it and why won't you change and la 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 la, it's not gonna work. People change however they're designed or awakened to change, if they change at all. But it shouldn't cause me any kind of emotional vexation, if you will, because I see people being bamboozled. Just like in the scripture where I say, well, if they don't receive the message, dust your feet off and go on to the next time. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody know where I don't have to vindicate myself and none of that. That'll be all set up in due time. I was thinking about how, and I'll segue into something else I was going to cover. You ever seen them like them old 80s, 90s movies of, let's say, I don't know, some type of apocalyptic event that's looming, but there's the crazy man, quote unquote, with the tinfoil on his head, and he might got one decent partner, and then he's got the dry erase board with all these pictures and arrows pointing to this and mathematical equations and all these notes and books that are all kind of skewed about, but he know where everything at, and he's trying to explain it to somebody, and he know, and his homeboy know he know what he talking about. He just can't understand it. But then whatever happens that he knew was going to happen because he's done the research and, put the pieces together and so on and so forth, then all the people in the world try to come find the crazy man and ask him what to do. I think it's very similar to those who are quote unquote chosen. People will dismiss you as crazy or, as the world is currently constructed, your talking points might not be received, if that's what you want to say or whatever the case may be. But trust and believe, no matter what you're plotting life in, among your, social circle or people that you've known or have known you, when stuff hit the fan, which it will at some point, they're all going to seek you out. Because you went through the gauntlet of being refined in affliction and, having a relationship with yourself. Like, if I'm not necessarily moving the way I move and got to this point through the journey, I wouldn't have the time, space of limiting distraction to figure out I was putting my efforts into fruitless endeavors. You see what I'm saying? I want, now, granted, it's probably noble, but if I get free, I want everybody else to get free. If I start to bamboozle Get News Network, I don't want you to be bamboozled. Not so, for people praying, nothing like that. I feel like it's just a decent, good work. You know what I'm saying? But you do plant seeds, and whoever's meant to awaken or grow along their journey or their path, then that's what's up. You got to look at it. Well, I got to look at it. To get to this point, it done took me 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a lot of layers to the onion that I didn't even realize. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. So I'm more like, flimsy with like Gumby. You know what I'm saying? I ain't tripping off nothing. You know what I'm saying? Personal attacks. Not that I get them, but just say hypothetically. I don't feel the need, or I'm more mindful now not to respond. God bless you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Going about my business. I am done with arguing. I've been done with arguing. It's just, or acceptance or stoicism. I'm just applying these things now in a different area of life and spirituality. You know what I mean? It's almost like going from JV to varsity. I'm playing the same game. It's just a bigger level of competition. You know what I'm saying? Or a better quality or standard of gameplay. You know what I mean? I ain't nothing. You know what I mean? But I was just thinking about these drone joints though, and I came to this epiphany last night. And before I started my YouTube channel, I used to email back and forth with another brother on YouTube, right? So I had this dream, and I just ran it past him through the email jump. And then I forgot to check my email to find out what movie it was. But then as I'm describing this dream I had to my other brother on YouTube, right? He then tells me about this particular movie. And I forgot the name of it. It just came out like within the last 6 months. I think it was on Netflix, whatever. And the first, let's say 5 minutes of the opening scene is exactly like the dream I had, Joe. I said, wow. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking about all these drones, and I keep seeing them on my social media feed, drones and portals and And it's hard to disseminate what's true, what's not, what's AI, what's real, what's fabricated, you know what I mean? And I've heard a couple brothers on here say, it might be the chariots in relation to Enoch and so on and so forth. And I'm going to just come through with my 2 cents. I ain't saying I'm right. I'm just voicing my opinion on YouTube. Ain't that what YouTube for? You know what I mean? I don't think it's that, yo. It just reminded me of the dream I had where I was like I want to say like Nebraska. I'm just like in the open field with like the corn silos and whatnot. And I'm just walking around. There's people out there, doing whatever they're doing. But I'm kind of in the dream, but I'm viewing it like from third person, kind of sort of, right? So it was like these drones, and they were flying around, and then they started like, zapping or shooting stuff, and then everybody goes into pandemonium, whatever, whatever. But I'm safe though. I'm just viewing all this, right? But like the dream was being narrated in my head or my mind in the dream, that like in real time as this is going on, like the government couldn't figure out who it was. So it was like and they were trying to figure out because it was AI drone strikes, but the AI had been hacked or went self-aware, like Skynet, you know what I'm saying? And they were trying to figure out what was the catalyst or who was responsible, but nobody could figure it out. Just like now, you know what I'm saying? They don't know. You just got a bunch of drones, and which is crazy because I like to believe it's technology, so you can hack drones or, GPS and all this. So how come they don't, you know what I mean? And they could be lying or just saying they don't know, like everybody else when you hold them account. Oh, I don't know, even though you in charge of a particular department. But then when something going on in your department to escape responsibility or accountability, you'll just say you don't know. So if you don't know, who's supposed to know then? You know what I mean? Then that don't go nowhere. You know what I mean? I was just thinking about that. Like, I think personally, it's like political or even societal WWE, where there's a script or a narrative being played out on the people, but the people, let's say at the tippy top in those shadow rooms that drink like baby blood and all that, they're orchestrating all this. And just like the arm, like only people are told what they need to know on a need to know basis. So I do believe, like, let's say governors and stuff like they might not know, you know what I'm saying? They might go super duper high up. But I do find it odd they don't shoot them joints down, though. You know what I'm saying? Because that's technically an act of war. You know what I'm saying? But they don't shoot the joints down, though. But they can't figure out whose it is, and ain't nobody claiming responsibility. You know what I'm saying? I think this is all like tying into, them duping everybody. Because we all know that, everything's supposed to go digital anyway. So let's say they run the narrative of, somebody hacked the drones or whatever, whatever. So they'll come in with greater, what's the word I'm looking for? Legislation for like online activity, being IPS, what they call them joints, IPS stuff, and you know what I'm saying, all that type of stuff. I think that's the play on it. And I've read that in the Behold a Pale Horse book, Project Blue Beam and all that. But when I read it in there, if I'm not mistaken, that was more like simulating, not necessarily alien invasion, a fake one, but putting, I think as he said it, like using the sky as a great big jumbotron, and based on the geography of where you live at, like here we see white Jesus, in Muslim countries they see Muhammad, or in Buddhist culture they see whoever that person is, you know what I'm saying, to dupe everybody in one world religion. You know what I'm saying? Them joints might start shooting this stuff, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Again, problem, reaction, solution. Create the problem, wait for the desired social reaction, and then you always run the next phase of your campaign, which would be, to me, I think, greater lockdowns and less transparency in the area of online computers and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Which would help set the state. Like, let's say I say something on Facebook the government don't like. It'd be easier to pinpoint where I'm at, shut my cards down. You know what I mean? Whatever, whatever. Get down, lay down, Titus. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think they like the chariots that Ezekiel and Enoch and them was talking about. Yeah, I don't feel that. I could be wrong though. You know what I'm saying? I'm just on YouTube talking. You feel me? You know what I mean? And then with just the upheaval, like I was talking to my mother about this. Let's say even if we all know aliens, quote unquote, are already here, probably been here. But society is ripe to accept aliens among us, like that TV show back in the day, Alien Nation. Um, we accept everything else. We'll accept a man going to school dressed as a woman and reading to the kids. You know what I'm saying? We'll accept, the common cold as some super deadly virus where we got to get inoculated for it. We'll accept that in mass. You know what I'm saying? We'll accept the bamboozling preacher man and give him a pass. All this acceptance is leading us into bondage and a technocracy. You know what I mean? That's crazy because Earth will become so whatever. Just like they'll make, life hard here in Babylon for Negroes. So we'll give you an escape. We'll just put drugs in your community and neutralize you that way. They done sold the game up every which way but loose. So living on Earth will be so whatever. Then they'll go ahead and put this Oculus on and live in a virtual world. I seen a junk that was so crazy to me. They said people was buying homes with, fake fiat currency, changing that over into digital currency, and building homes in the digital world and put the joint on, and then you know what I'm saying? That's too much. I think that was one of them Left Behind movies where they kind of went into the Matrix or and you had to choose or whatever, but you put that thing on and then Satan was there. And then he, you know what I'm saying? You could choose and then go back in the real world, or you get like the guillotine jump in the Matrix. But if you die in the Matrix, then you die in this Matrix. You know what I'm saying? Which made, like I heard somebody talk about like having certain type of dreams or whatever case may be, or when they get a hold of one of them incubus or succubus spirits in the sleep realm, and then like you might have scratches on you in this realm. You know what I'm saying? Like everything getting all blended and blurred, and that's why I was like getting mentally frustrated because it's hard to figure out or make out what anything is. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like I'm like a little kid. I want to understand stuff. Ooh, that's fascinating. I want to look at it, understand it. You know what I'm saying? But you won't be able to understand it because it's not something that could be mentally understood. Just like in a word where it say something to the effect of, the carnal mind that can't perceive things of the spiritual. Now what's bleeding over with me is coming out of a greater level or new growth of attempting to, operate in my mind, wisdom, and understanding, and then just follow spiritual principles, whether I understand it or not. See, I don't understand letting stuff go, but there is a great power in letting stuff go, and I've let other stuff go. It's just now being phased into other areas of life and operating. You know what I'm saying? So I've let go of outcomes, for the most part. I've let go of, my will in certain situations. I'm cool with however it turn out. And however it turn out, I just handle it. That's how I got to this point, just handling whatever came down the pipe. Now, of course, do I want to, construct a certain life, be in a certain place? Of course. But let's say it never happened. What, I'm going to be frustrated and mad and disappointed? No. This goes back into living in the present moment. You know what I'm saying? Practicing acceptance. You know what I'm saying? I think that's one of the components of like the master sensei, man, where he just accepts stuff. Not meaning he tolerates or he agrees with, he put up with it. He just accepts this is what it is. Now, I do struggle with how much do I guess when it pertains to me personally, like I can't change the fact that, a man can dress as a woman and go read to little kids. So I'm going to just accept they let them people do that. But mom won't be going to do. You know what I'm saying? And just leave it at that. And for me in my house, I can't, you know what I'm saying? We're going to worship the Most High. You know what I'm talking about? Shrug. And it creates, I'm more fluid. You know what I'm saying? I'm more, like Tupac said, how he say it? My son's getting older and older and cold from having the world on his shoulder. I think this is a part of leaving the world behind. You know what I'm saying? Not just the systems and so on and so forth, but your mental and spiritual attachment to the world. Because if you detach from it, it can't affect you. You know what I'm saying? And then I got to do this too, right? Because I talked about this on here too, where I feel like, which is crazy, where I feel like I should know stuff I don't even know I need to know. Because I caught somebody sent me a clip, and I sent it to a couple of homies, where it talked about like growth is actually painful, Joe. You know what I'm saying? No, or admitting when you wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm a humble guy, but a further level of humility. You know what I'm saying? Like with my homeboy back in Baltimore, you know what I'm saying? Like I apologize, like, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't mean spirited, but I was still coming after the man. Cause I feel like he in leadership and you ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, you know what I mean? But is that for me to, you know what I'm saying? It's just, again, I care. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, how are you leading, but the people you're leading ain't going nowhere? Why don't I just be happy that I was found fit to, quote unquote, escape and then go on with the next phase of my life? It just hurts to see homies who are more codependent or don't have any personal initiative and all that. Because I know what's going to happen. It's going to hurt my little heart. You know what I'm saying? But that's where I got to practice acceptance again. You know what I'm saying? Even again with me, like all the things I attempted to garner and so on and so, none of that worked because it wasn't meant to work. Because I was going, and still am, it was all spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with repeated disappointment, repeated failure. Like I've dealt with failure and disappointment so much it don't even affect me no more. Not as far as like how I view myself or my self-value. You know what I'm saying? It just gave me the courage to try other stuff. But in doing the work spiritually and practically, the breakthrough has come. Because once I get the breakthrough, now I have the requisite skill set to handle whatever I'm blessed with. Because if you can't handle a blessing, it actually ends up becoming a curse. Like if you gave me $1 million 4 years ago, I'd have probably darn near destroyed myself if I don't have the internal components to handle being a steward of $1 million. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like you can want something, but not. And like I told my man this one time, you can want something, but can you handle the responsibility and the stewardship of what you want? You know what I'm saying? So I'm enjoying this phase of the journey on the day, man. Cause my brain love learning, yo. And the greatest thing I can learn is about myself. And learning when I need to course correct and being humble enough to be corrected. Which I don't really deal with ego and all that type of stuff. At least not in that area. You know what I mean? So I can take correction and not feel like, who is you to tell me blah, 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 blah. For the most part, you know what I'm saying? Or let's say I do get that emotion. When I get by myself in the dawn, I'm like, oh, they was right. That's why typically when I get messages, I'll get them from like 2 or 3 different areas. Like it might be a personal message, that somebody I personally know. Or I might get a YouTube video from somebody else and it's pertaining to something, but it hit my spirit. Or I might be at the grocery store and overhear a conversation. I'm like, oh, okay. I get it. You know what I'm saying? So I keep getting messages in the matrix. I might watch a video or a movie and be able to pull out some message that had nothing to do with nothing in the movie, but the message was for me. So I'm noticing, to me, the Most High has been able to speak to me through the matrix with matrix things. You know what I'm saying? A song, or, you know what I mean? I remember back when I was in Baltimore, right? And I'd been heard the song when I was in school. Dope song, right? And wasn't thinking about, and the song popped in my head out of nowhere. That SWV, use your heart and not your eyes. They sang that jump. I ain't finna sing it though. I knew y'all was waiting on that. But that song just popped in my head out of nowhere, giving me a message along the path. Not because I know the heart is deceitfully wicked above all things, but I do believe, that is where Yeshua lives. So let him guide your heart in that manner. Just like my heart has been moved to kind of soften in a hard world. That's paradoxical. Now my mind or my resolve has been hardened in hardship. But due to the hardship, my heart is actually softened to the plight of others. You ain't got to be the way I want you to be. You know what I'm saying? I was never the way I need to be. So who am I to judge? You know what I mean? Just like a little Care Bear now, yeah. And don't feel no type way. Especially when you go to red pill, which I think like the red pill was a counter tactic against, brothers getting their hind parts handed to them from modern dating and, I guess as they call it, dealing with single motherhood. Like I talked about in video. Now, I got enough wisdom not to personally fool with them for the most part. But like the visceral to all their 304s and rah, 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 rah. I feel more compassionate when I see a 304 now. Now, I'm not going to deal with them, but I'm not necessarily judging them like they're a horrible human being. You know what I'm saying? Babylon has constructed something or a social construct where they're able to do this. So my compassion more when Babylon falls and is falling as we speak. Darn, you about to get left in the cold, shot it, and you don't even know it. Dang. You know what I'm saying? This one of them type numbers though. But I'm ready to get my day started. I've been drinking this beetroot juice. Yes, sir. Boy, that thing be having me, boy, I'm flowing like a faucet, boy. It'll clean your pipes out, I'll tell you that. At least that's what it do for me. But on that note, one love, man. Y'all stay up out here. Of course, as always, cover your sex. And let's practice some open-mindedness. And with that, I'm signing off. Ooh-ah!